Welcome, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 with Railway Empire, and we're playing the campaign mission of the Civil War, set in 1860s. And I'm going to be playing it along with my friend, my railway expert, IKB. Say hi to everyone, IKB.
Hi, everyone.
And so he's going to be helping and advising while we play on this. So let's get going with this. So in 1862, during the American Civil War, a decision was made to construct a transcontinental railway that would connect the westernmost state of California to the East Coast. However, the war put a stop to all this. Instead, the railway became a decisive factor in the war for the first time. Jay Cooke, the first U.S. investment banker and advisor to the president, has orders for you that are intended to prevent the breakup of the United States. So we're going to get into this. And we're going to, again, set that to manual so we can pause it.
Meticulous planning, tables, figures, and hard facts.
Yeah, okay, he's our only option currently for management.
In recent years, the tensions between the northern and southern states have been steadily increasing. A deep rift ran along economical, political, and ideological divides, right through the still young nation. The tone in both camps became increasingly bitter and drew a gloomy picture in which a greedy, cold-hearted North opposed a lazy, vicious South. The Union was on the brink of civil war. All eyes were on the events of the coming months.
My name is Jay Cooke. I'm delighted to finally meet you. Now, I'm afraid there's a war ahead, a dispute we cannot escape. I will help President Lincoln to save the Union, and I have a very important strategic role in mind for you. I am firmly convinced that Lincoln will put a quick end to the conflict between the northern and southern states. But we must be prepared for everything. So, you must take your tasks very seriously. First of all, the Southerners need to realize that it would be wrong to bring the Union into question. For this reason, you should tend to Louisville and construct a weapons factory there. In this way, we'll have a good support near the border if the worst comes to the worst.
Okay, so let's take a quick look at our goals. By 1861, we want Louisville to have 60,000 populace. Currently, it's showing it's 0. And we want to produce 1 load of weapons. Okay. Which seems like a bit fast. Railroads for the South, they had much less industrial capacity. Things like all of the railway engines, to the best of my knowledge, were all produced in the North. Most all of the steel for the rails were produced in the North. And that, from what I remember, different railroad tracks. Well, they're different companies, I think, were using different track gauges at this time. So there are a lot of options with that. Okay. Now, let's look at our factory options, because I don't remember an arms factory before. Okay, weapons industry down here. So, we can build that here. That was one of the goals for this. So we haven't produced a weapons load, but to do so now, what we need to see is what this takes. It takes wood, lumber, iron, and chemicals. So, well, this factory here produces chemicals, and that comes from coal. Okay, so where do we have coal? We have just a limited railway here to deal with. As you can see, You come down here. This will be our Southern Railway operation down here in the Confederacy. But so we'll need coal. Where can we find coal? Okay, there's some coal out here. Jackson Pit. Just looking to see if there's anything closer for us. No. Now, I don't know, IKB. Do you think we should try to link up all of these resources? Or, well, okay, we may also need the iron, so that would probably be...
Yeah, I would. That's the closest coal. That's
right.
what we're going to have to go for.
Yeah, I think we're going to do... Now... I guess, and I truly do want your advice here, is would it be better to try to link up like the coal up to this line here and utilize that, or would it be better to try to go coal to this iron? Because I think we also need the iron, don't we? Yeah, we also need the iron. So would it be come down here to, you know, and do a linking, or would it, do you think better like an express route, you know, just a straight, not stopping at other stations?
Right. Depending on how much it wants, you might be able to have a train that goes from the coal into Louisville, and then goes out to the iron, and into Louisville, and then goes back out to the coal again.
Right. So, because what we can do here is, we look at this, we can drop a station, you know, here, and then run track to here, or we can drop a station here and connect these up is sort of what you know. Or another thing is I'm just thinking is we could do a big warehouse. That may be the plan. Yeah, okay. What I think, see, the big warehouse, we can set that up. So I'm trying to look for efficiency because we want to move this, we want to grow this town big. We want to grow 100,000 people or something in there. Is have these connected to this big warehouse, which will come in with, and it will warehouse coal, logs, and iron, and then have a train from Louisville to the warehouse that will then haul all that back.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Okay, so let's see, we can stick that here, and this is a big enough thing to actually connect to both of these resources. So we do that, and because we have $4.5 million still dollars. And let's drop that there. Okay.
Maybe put in another big warehouse to try and hit both the coal and the wood.
No, I don't think so, because you'd have to run a train. You're not going to move goods from one warehouse to another warehouse so much. So what I'm thinking of doing is just coming out here with a small train station here that will connect to here, and we do this to get it here. So now we can run a train from here, and then we'll come here, double track this, I think, Um, there we go. Double track that and okay, and then I've also learned how to do this, is that we can do a crossover here. So now that they'll use both sides of that track there. So okay, so with that, wait, now we can have one train from, what is this, Martin Forest place. Let's see what, well, let's set up the rail line. Go from here to the warehouse. And then our locomotive. Okay, we only, the Philadelphia is the only thing we have technologically yet we can buy. So we're going to do that. And so that'll run there. We can come over here and we can specify to only run if, well, we can do a max of 8. So we'll do at least 6 cars. So it's not going to run empty. And it'll come here. And then we can come get that. And we can do another train from this Jackson pit to the warehouse. And again, let's specify that it's going to have at least 6 there. And we'll add a locomotive. Okay, so this double track section, oh, and we also need to put signals on. Forget that. Okay, well, let's, we'll do it that direction. Okay, so they're going, you know, each one way. So we'll just have one train so that can share this, you know, this bit of track. Or, I mean, it's not, it's a non-shared track. Let me get rid of those. Probably put that on. Oh, sorry, let's look at the fact. Okay, I'm a bit confused. You have Kentucky family in your grasp and your border state, and you remain so until Confederates attack. Okay. Did the Brits have artillery trains in World War II? Arno asks. Did the Brits have artillery trains in World War II?
Yes, there were. Mostly focused around the sort of southeast England, sort of the coast of Kent.
Okay.
There was some that were basically some of the remember your event for Hearts of Iron 3 that mentions taking the guns off one of the old battleships.
Right.
There was some of them that were set up, some of them on sort of traditional railway mounts, more like you see from the Germans with their like K5 guns.
Right, the big ones, yeah.
The big ones, and some in sort of traditional like defensive casemates, and which were used to sort of bombard across the channel.
Okay.
And there was for a short period of time sort of long-range cross-channel artillery duels.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
With German guns on the other side.
I did know that the German guns shell Britain.
You could only really do it at sort of the narrowest point.
Right.
But we did have some railway guns.
Cool.
And there was quite a lot of the older sort of remaining World War I stock of I think it's like 9 point something inch and 12-inch railway mounted guns that were sort of mounted on something that resembles a bit more your conventional railway wagon.
Right.
That were sort of positioned around sort of the southeast of England, particularly in Kent, as sort of pre-sighted artillery, so that if the Germans did land, there would be an awful lot of very heavy artillery then coming down on the beaches.
Yeah, that I could see that could be very effective. And it would have the ability to carry its own supply of ammo with it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of them were sort of stationed reasonably close to sort of existing locations that had the siding space to supply, hold a stock of wagons loaded with ammunition. But you would be, hopefully, had the Germans ever invaded, those guns would have been were potentially pre-sighted for the beach, and then as you fall back for strategic road and rail junctions to blow apart those to delay the advance.
I can see how that could be very useful. Now we're gonna connect these up here. And we still need to do that. Okay, we got that. Let's here. Okay. Now, how's that for a reasonably efficient connection?
That looks very good.
Because we got two trains that will feed into here, and then we can have trains from there come and get corn, logs, coal, and iron. What else are we needing here? Chemicals, which we're making from the coal. Okay, we need to, although we're bringing in logs from there, do we have a sawmill somewhere? We need to turn that into lumber. Okay, way up at Indianapolis. So, well,
Either build a sawmill in Louisville.
Yeah, but I only have.
Or run a train to Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's. I think the second thing is because the city does have another slot, but it requires 90,000 populace to get the to add another sawmill there, and so we need those two.
Right.
Okay, so this junction is not the most efficient for doing that. Okay, well, let's do at least this. Cross over there. Okay, this is another big warehouse here set up to take in these goods. Do a loop here. How interesting. Okay.
Yes, that loop there
Yeah.
at West Estate very much reminds me of the sort of merry-go-round trains that are still used today in the UK to deliver coal to power stations.
Okay.
It's basically the idea that as the train goes round, it doesn't actually stop. You just go over a very long unloading
right
section, and you've got hopper wagons with doors in the bottom.
Right.
So you can just drop the coal, and then it automatically goes round the loop, and you're pointing back to go back to the coal mine. And you've got another loop at the coal mine with a hopper above dropping coal in as the train goes underneath.
Okay, what we're going to see about doing here is cross over here and here, and do another crossover here. And then we're going to come here. And then we're going to come here again. And we're going to come here again. Okay, now let's see if we were to run a okay. Let's create a train. We're going to go from Indianapolis to Louisville. Let's fill this. To the big warehouse. So it needs to come down. What's it going out to there for? I shouldn't need to go all the way out to there. I was hoping it would come. Well. We don't. I knew it was going to come here and need to switch back through this, but I was hoping it would come to here.
If you had it going, you could have it going back to Louisville after the big warehouse.
Well, it's gonna
or do you just want it going in the big triangle that it's got?
Well, the arrows just see the orange on the actual track.
Right.
So you can see what it does. It goes out to this Walker Estate thing for some reason. That's what I'm worried about. See, it's following these orange lines. Don't worry about the arrow on the map. Following the orange lines, so you can see that this is one way each way, so it's taking up those two lines there. So it comes down here. This is a one-way track here.
It's probably because it's sharing a platform with the stuff coming in from that estate. That's probably why it's saying if you put a signal down.
Yeah, hold it just a second. What I can do is here I can maybe specify this. No, that's just adding another complication. Okay.
If you put a signal down between Louisville and Walker Estate, that will separate those two track sections, and then it won't show it as needing to occupy that bit of track.
Okay, let's try that. Well, what I'm wondering about doing, okay, we have a, yeah, okay, well, let's try, Oh, no, we're not. We want to go back to Jackson Pit, new rail line. Okay, let's redo this. Now, signal doesn't do it. It's right there. What I wanted to do is switch back. What I thought it would do is we come to take this to here, and then from take this line to here to this line here, and from this line here come here and switch back.
Right. Depending on how well they've programmed it, it might be that we're overthinking it.
Yeah.
And it'll do something interesting else.
Yeah,
it might be worth letting the train run and see what happens.
No, I think it's going to follow this line. From my experience, it's going to follow the yellow line.
Right.
Well,
the only other option would be to add
bridging over these things, but it looks so ugly.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the thing.
Okay, let's come here. We're gonna double track this. It is a city after all, so not just an end resource. I don't mind single tracking an end resource so much, but we'll come here. Let's.
Yeah. It's the one thing this game doesn't seem to handle very well.
So you can do that. You can look at the map there. See, I can bridge over that, theoretically, or under that, but that's a little too close.
Yeah, it won't let you cross them on the level.
No, yeah, not on.
Just have a set of diamonds.
I can come to. I can't cross, but I can merge.
Yeah,
I can merge, but so I could merge this into this, like this. You know, to get do that. But I can't cross on the do a straight cross. It'll either go under or over, and it can't be too. It has to be gradual enough. It can't be 136 degrees of things. So it'd have to start over on the far side of the river and bridge over that way. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. Let's trash that. We're going to parallel this for a good ways, and then we're going to split off, and then we're going to bridge over that. And then we're going to come down here, and then we're going to merge into there, and then we're going to come back here, create a parallel, and do that. Doesn't look so pretty, but that way we can now do a straight Indianapolis to the big warehouse. Now let's put another signal here. Get this flowing a little better. There we go, and keep from having too much of a traffic jam there. Okay, so now we can come back to our new rail line. Now we'll just go straight from here to here, and so that will go there. direct. So we'll want that. And again, a Philadelphia engine. And so then we want another railway line to come from Indianapolis down to here that will bring our, along with other things, but it will bring our lumber once it's been milled. Okay, so we have everything we need will be showing up here, but let's set up trains from here to this big warehouse. This one again, we will want to make sure that we're running somewhat full at least. And here, oh well, no, we need it. Here down to this big warehouse. That. Now we're not making I guess we'll just let this run because it'll probably be running either sugar or wheat. And so we'll have from Louisville here, let's add, we can use this thing that we sort of started, Louisville to here, and yeah, that'll be good. And another one from Louisville to this big warehouse. So this one also needs to assign a drain to that one. Okay. Make sure I click it right. Okay, so that's going to run that way. That's going to run there. Might as well also add St. Louis to this. That will supply meat and things to make this grow rapidly. Now, what are okay? These are troops. Oh, interesting. And let's look at our developmental resources. We can do express trains, or we can push for some of that, or we can look here. Creative accounting, increase profits from your factories by 15%. We can do we can do reduces construction costs, train track. Should have done that beforehand, maybe. 32, 27. Let's, even though we've already built a bunch of.
I would get the bigger locomotive
instead of the foreign workers.
Depends how much more track you're going to build.
Well, I think we're going to be connecting a lot of these other areas, Cleveland, Toledo. I think
if you're going to be building a lot more track,
I'm not sure, and I should have done that before this. I just didn't think I didn't think ahead. In
that case, I'd go for foreign workers and the one before it. It makes bridges cheaper.
Okay, we'll do that first. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. Okay, there we go. Oh, we still have more. No, we still have even more. How many points do we have? Oh, we have 700 points after this. So yeah, we're doing foreign workers. And then let's come back over here. We'll do the dragon, which will unlock some more stuff, but we'll earn more points, 40 per month. So we'll be getting some more pretty soon to do some more. Okay. Yeah, I should have done that first. Okay, and let's get, well, don't know even if we need the Walker estate because we're already getting corn from here, from Lee Farm to the big warehouse. Well, you know, let's see about double tracking this. To at least here. How is that now? Where they built the bridge, I know we could. Don't know if we can redo this, but okay. Let's do that, and then let's build some. Oh, we also need to. Let's do a bit of a crossover here. So it can use both tracks and tell it which way to go, give it an intermediate. Okay, well. Yeah, okay, well, that's a start. Let's see how that's going once we unpause this.
And I think Mason Estate to big warehouse still needs a locomotive.
Oh, oh, here, okay, yes, you're right. We'll step up and do a dragon for that one. And we have a stoker available, so, well, let's put him on, this guy here. So that'll increase the speed of that train, having a stoker on there. Now, I purposefully sort of waited and I now create well, let's just come Louisville to let's click to that one, this one. Okay, we're gonna hit the clone the train, so we're gonna have a another one. So we're gonna have two trains doing that, separated out a bit, to try to haul as much goods as possible as this one starts filling this place up. The gray numbers are local production that are directly brought into here. And we'll add an engineer, sure. And I'll keep from breaking down as much. Reduce maintenance amount. Okay, well, I'm going to lecture a bit here now that we've got some of this done, and don't want to be sort of pressured from it. As I was talking earlier on the stream, trains allow for modern warfare to happen. And a long time ago, and if you look at a lot of guns, particularly some of the American ones, but also some of like the early Turkish Mausers, they have magazine cutoffs. And I always wondered why you would have a like a Krag Jorgensen rifle, the Swedish design, though they were made in America for the American production, a magazine-fed bolt-action rifle that has the magazine cut off. That the idea is, because the idea is that you would have a depends on the type, but 3 to 5 rounds in the magazine, but then you have the magazine cut off so it's closed, and the idea is the idea is the soldier is supposed to take a bullet off of a bandolier and stick a bullet in the chamber, close it, and shoot. And that's the way they wanted to shoot it. And I always thought, well, the American Army was just being stupid because they didn't want soldiers just to sort of pop off at shadows or burn through ammunition really fast and then not have ammunition on them. So they didn't trust the skill of the soldiers. I always thought that this was the main reason, and so that the officers would control this. And that is a reason, because a lot of soldiers would have 60 to 100 rounds, and trust me, you can go through 100 rounds of bolt-action ammunition very fast. And so not having any more ammunition, sort of, now you just got a long thing with a bayonet on it. It's a sharp, pointy thing. And that's what I thought the sort of like, and this is in the days long after, the Winchester lever actions, as used in the American Civil War, mostly private purchase by often regimental colonels for the unit, or the Spencer butt-fed cartridge multi-shot things that were so successful in the American Civil War. But why wouldn't they just see this? And okay, they didn't have bolt actions in the American Civil War, or in well, by 1870 you start having some of the single shot bolt actions in the Mausers. Why didn't they just do lever actions? The Battle of the Little Bighorn, where Custer gets killed. Most, or many, maybe not most, but many of the Indians had lever action rifles shooting against single shot Sharps carbines. I think they were mostly Sharps carbines, but they were single shot carbines. So the Indians just out firepowered Custer. Why wouldn't the Army see to just go over to a faster shooting weapon? Well, I've finally come to understand the real reason why, particularly the U.S. Army, but some of the other armies, didn't want to have repeating firearms. And again, they knew that having, and the reason they wanted to have that ammunition in the magazine, and like Churchill talks about it, some of the early experiences in India with it, is when like a small group of soldiers, a platoon, a company, gets attacked by a lot of other people, often with rifles, but single shot rifles, and maybe even muzzleloader rifles. They were such a surprise to the natives that they would be able to so rapidly shoot, with magazine fed, and after very early on with the British, they even had stripper clips to reload it. And so this was just so effective. And the Turks and whatnot saw how effective, and they used some, or it was used against them by the Russians, some lever action rifles. And so that in some sieges, that it was just so effective, so that sort of burst of firing was just so effective at times. They saw this, but their real problem wasn't that they thought the soldiers, it was, like I do say, an element, soldiers were just going to shoot up too fast. The real problem was supplying the soldiers with the ammo. You can look at ammunition production during Napoleonic Wars, in which they're creating a paper cartridge. They go into it. They have whole ammunition factories that they make in England. They have a paper cartridge with a ball at one end and a little string tied around, and then an all in the same piece of paper, but then a sort of a section for powder, and then it's all tied up. And there's still a few examples left from that period of how they made these pre-manufactured cartridges, and then from Britain, and then shipped all that out to the British Army overseas, instead of the soldiers just making it in the field or using the powder horn and sort of slowly putting it together. So that amount of ammunition production is going on, and shipping out in the Napoleonic Wars. Come to the American Civil War, which is about 55 years after the Napoleonic Wars. most American rifles are still in a paper cartridge sense with a percussion cap firing as a separate thing. They do have the not Winchester, the Henry repeating rifle. You do have the Spencer repeating rifle and a few other repeaters, but most of the stuff is still paper cartridge. Some of it, especially on the Confederate side, is still muzzle loading paper cartridge instead of breech loading paper cartridge. And so it's the railroads with the abilities to set up the machinery and feed the machinery into production of brass cartridges is a thing that is, the Army has yet to wrap its head around doing that. And so that is the problem with, and why railways are coming into being so important. You find all of the major American Civil War battles are fought on or near a railway or a major river, you know, the Mississippi or something, which often has railway connections to it, and that allows the steamship. So the officers, it was partially a budgetary reason, you know, how much could they afford to produce, but it was, our soldiers are going to be off in the American West fighting the Indians, and so how are we going to get ammo, that much ammo to them? And then you can look on, and they're very worried about supplying ammo to soldiers. And so it's one thing to have a soldier, to have, you know, supply him his food, and you give him his rifle, and that's a non-consumable thing. Yeah, some breaks, they lose a few, but it's really the soldier looks out after his rifle. You don't need to keep giving him more. But if he could easily shoot the cost of the rifle, which is considered an expensive thing, a day in ammo, in the cost of producing that ammo. If it's a repeating rifle, you could shoot through easily the day in the cost of it. So moving it, and it isn't really until the acid test of the Spanish-American War down in Cuba, in which they run into the Spanish Mausers with the stripper clip loading, because it becomes also the stripper clip, because the Americans are mostly using the Krag Jorgensen at the time, which is dump fed. You put in the rounds into the magazine, and then you close in the magazine by hand, each round at a time. So you're putting them in, and then you close the magazine up, and then whether you have the magazine cut off, open or closed, to work the bolt to feed that. Where the Spanish, you just 5-shot stripper clip, load, shoot. The gun is also better performing, and it's a flatter trajectory and everything else. But they see the tremendous firepower advantage. So it really isn't until coming up against these things do they finally learn we have to step up. And this is the war of production as opposed to the war of, combat and maneuver. And that's what railways allow to happen. And I see here we need, let's keep things going in the right direction, some more signals to keep this going right. Put that down. Okay, so that way they're going in 2 ways. And here we also, no, we didn't here. Okay, that's all good. Okay, so I'll close this. So that is why railways are so important. And this is what we've really first, okay, new rail line. I don't know where we're going to put a new rail line at the moment. Now, our goals. Okay, we need to get to 60,000 by the end of next year. We're at 53, and we also need to produce 1 weapon. But we're going down in population, so we don't like that. Well, let's do one from Walker Estates, even though we do have corn coming from somewhere else. That will, and add a locomotive. We'll do, we have the money, we'll do the better one. Get that going. Let's add another to there, just to make sure that's all being fed. Okay, we're not going to bother with those, I don't think. Now, okay, we're losing population here, even though I hope we're bringing, well, let's bring in one more train from out here as well. St. Louis, let's go to the St. Louis line, and we'll clone that. Hopefully that will help. We'll be bringing more food in. All we have to do is produce one weapon and grow the population. Still don't have. Yeah.
Gamer, do you want to scroll through your train list a sec? Because I think I spotted some in.
Sure. Livestock near Columbia. Where are we? About. Yes, we'll buy this. Okay, just a second. Once we're done with this auction here. Okay, we've got that. So we now own that. What's the problem you're seeing?
I think some of the trains in the train list don't have locomotives.
Okay, well, oh, you're right. There you go. Right, good. Add a locomotive. We'll also do the dragon there. Yeah, and we also that one. That would be a problem. Great, thank you. Okay, so. And we're going to do another one.
You might also want to add some supply towers.
Ah, yes, you're right. Thank you. You're definitely helping me on that. Okay. Let's go with, because both of these two need to pass through that one, so we'll put it in the middle here. And let's add one there. Do we have something to the St. Louis to Parker? No. Let's do the Parker Ranch as well. See, that might overstress the system, I don't know. We'll go fast. Okay, we have some lumber. And here we go. Now this guy here. What we're going to do here is, at the big warehouse, we're going to prioritize coal and iron, because we want to make sure we make one of those guns. Engineer. And we can put them on that train if we have an open slot. Again, I want to look and see. Okay, 52,000, and we're no longer losing population. Yeah, hi Darkstar, yeah, we have yet to research Caboose. So, that is a thing, most assuredly. What we can currently look at with the trains, here individually, we can come here And oh, they don't like each other. So we're going to put you on to a different train. But we can come to rail cars. We have a refrigerated car, dining car, and a mail car. But I'm mostly worried about getting resources. So those aren't... Well, the refrigerated car, maybe we could come here. Yeah, let's add a refrigerated car. Because that could quite likely be moving meat. And this one, I think, is actually currently moving meat. So we'll add refrigeration car. So it actually reduces the meat down a little bit better, but it should help that. This guy, no suitable. Rebuild big warehouse. I'm only worried about him picking up what he's picking up from here. And this should have... Oh, did I mess that last guy up? Or... No, we can't. Yeah, we did, sort of. Should have iron and some coal there. Security guard. Maybe we can keep the... Let's give him the security guard and... well, let's go to a different train so they're not having a fight. Oh no. Let's here then. Back. Okay, now this guy, hold it just a second here. Let's do a ride along. So we can see the train car. Let's look back over the rear. Okay, a lot of coal, it looks like. Out the front. This is a good way to see if we have any, you know, traffic jams or how the thing is flowing. We can ring the whistle. Well, not ring the whistle, blow the whistle. I think they put a lot of effort into this for primarily a resource railway type management game with the graphics. We're currently doing 26 miles per hour. Looks a little faster when we're down here like this.
Game man.
Sure.
We might need to add some maintenance
Yes.
buildings to some of the station.
Yes, you're very right. We will do that. And you're absolutely right. We do need to do that. Okay, yeah. They were on maybe where we're going to go. I think this is the dairy farm that we're passing by here. Yeah, it even has the Parker Ranch symbol on it, the dairy cans there.
Yeah, past the milk churns.
Now into our fairly big railway station. You can see the people walking along in the wagons. I know it isn't terribly remarkable, but for considering the type of game it is, fair amount of detail. Okay, now let's get out of this, but I think you're right about that. So we will upgrade this with a maintenance shed. Since this is, most things come through here, not that route, but these, now this big warehouse maybe. Okay, we have another security guard option, new applicant, and there. So let's add the stoker to that one. Okay, well we can do standardized components. Increase the number of passengers. I'm not so much worried about. We'll do standardized components. Okay, how are we doing so far? Okay, we've increased the population a little bit, but we don't have much time. So, okay. Let's see. Where would we build out from here? Up over here. Can we cross? I'm thinking about going to Columbia. Or, well, Chicago maybe. Yeah, Chicago. That looks like a better idea. So let's add a Chicago station. Well, you know, let's end this episode. Not the stream, guys. We're just going to end this episode. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. I really do appreciate that. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I'd love to see you around more often. And of course, come back next time for more historical gaming.